Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Inside the Wrongful Conviction of Daniel Holtzclaw, episode 14. Kay did an excellent job last week uh, making that opening, and I just thought, you know what, I never do that, so I appreciated that, and it was definitely helpful. So, uh, I don't want to waste too much time chit-chatting necessarily. I'm hoping that everyone here is doing well on the panel. Um, Kay, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't really have anything new to share, so.
Okay. All right, Sherry, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Inside the Wrongful Conviction of Daniel Holtzclaw.
Yes, very much so. And Jack, how are we doing?
I'm doing just fantastic. Just Jim Dandy. Hello, everyone.
Awesome.
We know.
When you, that just sounds, okay, never mind. Susan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, Rhonda. I'm glad you're feeling better too. Hello, everyone.
I appreciate that. Yes, I have mostly my normal voice back now, or sound. Healing fairly well, but still having discomfort enough that I might end up having to take a pain pill once a night at night. But other than that, I'm doing much better, I think. So I just want to say really quickly, I know that foul play is, I got thinking, Jack, when I saw that you were going live, you're going to stream for us. I know that everybody over in foul play is hoping for an open mic tonight. And so for those of you who might have been misled by Jack's stream right now, thinking that it was going to be open mic, it's not. I'm really sorry. But, that's another topic for another time. When and if Jack decides that they're going to do that. So we will read tonight. After our last week, I read through transcripts of Sherry Ellis's boyfriend, Edwin Smith, and her common law husband at the time, Terry Mack. And, her case is just so big and so, I don't know if important is the right word. I can't think of a word, but more significant perhaps than some of the other cases. I thought, those were the only two witnesses. So I just thought, we're just going to go ahead and read those, and they're not very long. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And we have my same amazing readers who are going to help us read. And there it is. Okay. So we're going to start with Edwin Smith's witness testimony. And his testimony was given on November 23rd, 2015. So Kay is going to read the testimony of Edwin Smith, and Susan's going to read the part for Prosecutor Giger, and then Jack will read for Scott Adams, and Cherie is going to cover the court for us. So whenever you folks are ready to go, we can start.
Mr. Smith,
here you go.
Do you know a lady by the name of Sherry Ellis?
Yes, I do, sir.
How long have you known Ms. Ellis, sir?
About 2.5 years now.
About 2.5 years?
Somewhere along in there.
Can you describe to the jury what your relationship is with Ms. Ellis, please?
Well, right now at this time, she's my fiance.
All right. And the relationship that has obviously developed into fiance, you said you've known her for 2.5, 3 years. Is that right?
Approximately about 2.5 years.
Has it been a romantic relationship the entire time, or did that change over the course of time?
Basically, we were intimate. We met and we started messing around.
That happened pretty quick.
Not really quick, maybe a month or so in our relationship.
Somebody opened the door back there. I didn't understand what you said.
About a month or two after we met, about a month or two after that, we started getting into it.
Thank you, sir. Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Oh, were you aware at the time that you began to have a relationship? Did you know if she was involved with someone else?
Yes, I did.
Had she told you about that?
Yes, she did.
Nevertheless, a relationship developed. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sir, were there times during the either spring or early summer of 2014 that she would come and see you in regards to that relationship?
Yes, sir.
In relation to where you lived and where she lived, is it close enough to walk?
Yes, sir.
Is that on the northeast side of the town?
Yes, it is.
Sir, whenever she would come see you during that time period, again, into the spring and early summer of 2014, had your relationship developed to where it was intimate and it was a sexual relationship?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You remember at some point during the summer of 2014, her coming to you and talking to you about an event that had occurred that upset her.
Yes, she did.
And can you describe for me the demeanor that she was demonstrating whenever she told you about that, sir?
Judge, may I approach?
Come on.
Judge, I object to this witness testifying. Again, it's all hearsay. Anything he would have to say is hearsay. Secondly, it's all just bolstering. It's all they're doing is trying to bolster the victim's testimony because no matter what happens, this is after the event allegedly occurred. But it's at least 1 month, if not more, after the event occurred. And I object to any testimony as not being relative, that the probative value is outweighed by its prejudicial effect, that it's improper bolstering, and there's really no relevance to it in the trial here today. It's nearly impossible to cross-examine people when all you have to go off of is something that they were allegedly told by the victim months after the alleged event happened. Because, I mean, they're not on trial here. They're just sitting here trying to help improperly bolster. And all the other objections I had earlier about what this said. So I object to this, to any of his testimony.
Your Honor, it's not improper bolstering to ask a witness whenever they became aware of an event that was upsetting to another witness, especially in a case where continually the assertion is that that the state's detectives have contacted these ladies, put the idea in their head by talking about that they had received a tip that they had been sexually harassed, and then making reference after reference to every witness as to when they went on the internet and found stuff out about this case and when they watched the news. That's the relevance of it. It's what he's going to say is that she discussed this issue with him before the police got involved, before they knew anything on the TV about it.
Well, this is the thing. The question that's on the floor right now is basically,
What was her demeanor whenever she talked to him?
what was her demeanor when she was talking? What was her demeanor when there was an event that when she was talking to you about an event? So I don't know what year, where we're at, or anything such as that.
I'm sorry. I thought I laid the foundation that we were in the summer of 2014. All I can, and I can do it again, but I thought I'd done that.
Well, you asked if they were in a relationship in the summer of 2014.
Okay.
But I understand what your objection is, but we haven't even gotten there yet as to, I mean, I think you're anticipating what may be coming, but so you can make your objections at the time that they come in.
I'm just wanting to state for the record my objection to this witness even testifying because he has, from everything I've been provided, he has no knowledge of the events that she just testified to and has not even told about it under the light most favorable to the state until over a month later.
Well, and see, right now, I don't know any of that.
Okay.
Mr. Smith, the event that you told me about, something that had upset her, do you recall when that conversation was that she told you about that?
Yes, sir.
When was she telling you? Don't tell me what she said, but tell me when you had the conversation with her.
Summer of last year.
The summer of 14?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when was she describing an event that had happened recently or an event that had happened sometime before that, if you know?
She told me it had happened prior to when she told me.
Okay. Do you have any idea as to how long, or did you take anything from the conversation as to how much before? Days, weeks, months? Do you know?
About a month later.
Okay. That was your understanding?
Yes, sir.
And even though it was a month later, I had asked you about her demeanor during this conversation. Can you describe what her demeanor was to you? Do you know what I mean when I say demeanor?
Like, she was like shook up and she didn't really want to tell me because she said I would end up leaving her. And I asked her what was wrong with her.
Judge, I would object to.
Sustained.
I know sometimes it's hard to do it. I don't want you to tell me what she said yet. I just want you to tell me the way she was acting, okay?
Well, she was like real, shaky, nervous.
Was she emotional?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell what she was emotional about? In other words, was she emotional about something else that had happened, or was she emotional about what she was telling you about?
She was emotional about what she was telling me, what she was telling me that happened to her.
And did she give you information relevant to those events and what she said to help you understand why she was acting this way?
Yes, sir.
Before you answer, let the judge make a ruling. But I want to ask you what she told you.
Judge, the previous objection I just made at the bench.
All right, sustained.
Can I approach and make a record?
Yes.
Judge, my response is I think I've laid a foundation for an excited utterance. She's relaying a startling and upsetting event. She is under the distress and the emotion as she recalls those events. Her testimony is specifically on point to what it was that, her statements were on point as to what it was that caused her to be upset. There is no time requirement for excited utterance. There is one for present sense impression. But for excited utterance, I don't believe there's a time requirement. And with those foundations, I think that he's entitled, not for the truth of the matter asserted, excuse me, but what is being offered as an exception under the hearsay rule in that it shows her demeanor. Well, and quite frankly, I don't want to misstate. For the purposes of what I believe I've done with my foundation is that I do think it comes in as an exception to the hearsay rule.
I don't believe.
God damn it, man.
Yeah,
He is
yeah.
a trip.
excited utterance. I mean, to
I
me,
think I can do whatever I want, Judge. Don't you agree?
Right.
Can I just
There's
do
no-
whatever I want? I'm going to tell you a bunch of shit here, and
there's
I
no
just
time limit on. There's no time limit on how long I have to bring this up.
God.
Right. Okay. I don't believe it even comes close to an exception to the excited utterance, Your Honor. I previously made a pretty lengthy record in regards to all of my objections, and that is probative, and that its probative value certainly outweighed by its prejudicial effect. It's clear hearsay. Secondly, it was not spontaneous in any sense of the form or fashion. Under his reading of the excited utterance, literally, anytime anything, someone, or some what traumatic has allegedly happened to me, I can just relive it to a third party and then it would be admissible in court. And I object to it because that's not what the excited utterance is about. And I object on all the other grounds I've previously stated when I objected to his testimony at all.
All right, objection sustained.
Mr. Smith, whenever she related what it was that had upset her, did it upset you?
Yes, it did. But like I said at first, I didn't really believe her. What she told me was going on with her.
Again, sir, you need to be careful how you answer. I don't want you to tell me what she said, but you can tell me why it is that you didn't believe her at first.
I wouldn't ever think that a police officer would rape her.
Judge, I would object.
All right, sustained.
As to approach.
Sustained.
Wow.
Again, I don't want you to give me details about what she told you, but what was it, just in general, about what she said that seemed unbelievable to you?
That she just walked from my house
Okay.
and back to her boyfriend's house at the time, and then she was going to her cousin's house.
Okay. Hang on. Try it this way. Let me testify for you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
At first, what she told you had happened. Did it seem like something that you thought would happen in our society?
No, sir.
Judge,
Oh,
I would
Jesus.
object to the form.
All right, overruled. He's answered.
Is that why you didn't believe her?
Yes, sir.
Later, did you come to believe her?
Well, yes, I did.
Judge, object relevance.
Sustained.
In the time period before she shared this information with you, and the time period after she shared this information with you, did you notice a change in her behavior?
Yes, I did.
Judge, object to the relevance.
Overruled. You can answer that.
How did she change, sir?
She was always crying. She was very emotional, just like she was always stressed out.
Did you attribute that to the event that she had shared with you?
Yes, I did, sir.
To this day, you still notice those type of things in her behavior?
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness.
Okay, I will. Sorry.
Oh,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's about 4 minutes to 5, so we'll go ahead and break before we start cross-examination tomorrow morning. Do you want me to continue?
no, you don't have to continue.
Is there
So,
cross?
I don't think there was cross, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know. Okay,
That's odd.
full transparency. It was high.
Oh, hang on.
You're not saying you were drugged up or anything or anything.
Hang on a minute. Let me look.
Okay, I was gonna say I can, but yeah, if you.
But hey, I mean, while I'm doing that, so the testimony is that she didn't know Edwin at the time this happened to her.
No,
That's
she
right.
did. They were
She
dating.
did.
What's
Wait,
the
what?
after the event? I'm sorry, I'm confused with the testimony. I should have
Yeah,
stopped you way back there.
me too. I was under my impression that they didn't know each other at the
That's
time.
how I read the testimony.
Doesn't she say,
That-
Sherry say at one point that she had two DNAs in her or something like that?
Two
that's why-
DNAs.
Remember that?
That's what her common law husband Terry Mack said. She shouldn't bother going to get a test because she had two DNAs in her.
Right, from her, yeah. Well, yeah.
He said she was walking from his house back to her boyfriend's and then to her cousin's.
Yes. Yeah, which I caught that when I was reading through it. I was like, wait a minute.
But she waited a month to tell. But she waited a month to tell him about what happened.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, gotcha.
Huh.
So what was the alleged date of the
May
assault?
7th. May
So
7th.
June 7th.
May.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm just thinking in
May
relation to
7th.
Janie Liggins.
But wait, when did she come forward though, even?
Well, Kim Davis talked to her on, I think it was August 5th.
August.
On the phone.
But yeah.
Yeah, there's no cross.
Yeah, I didn't think there
Weird.
was.
I mean, what would you...
Well, yeah, what can you really...
Yeah.
I mean, except for just to call him a liar, really. I mean, not sure.
Come on, man. That whole excited utterance thing is such bullshit.
Oh, man, that's
the
ridiculous.
Okay, so here's what makes it bullshit. Let me find this, where that was. Yeah. Oh, here's why it's not an excited utterance. According to this story, where he says that she said she didn't want to tell me because I would end up leaving her. That means according to this version of events that she thought about it. That's not an excited utterance, and that's exactly what Scott Adams could have crossed on, but
right.
I think it really is. Well, I shouldn't say anything's irrelevant because he got 62 years for her count. So
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So. Oh, good. So I wasn't so high that I didn't get all the proper testimony. And if I had just looked, I could have just looked and told you the page numbers would have told me that too. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know. When I first read the part where he said something about she was walking from my house and then I was like, I got stuck. I was like, oh my gosh, because that's not her testimony or that's not her accusation. And then he said back to her boyfriend's house and then to her cousins. Even when I read that, I was like, well, that sounded a little coached, or that sounded like a little, I don't know. It just sounded made up to me, or like information had been offered. Anyway, so that was Edwin Smith's, her boyfriend's testimony. I think they're actually married now, but by the time of trial, they were engaged, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, they're still married. Actually.
Yeah, and good for her. I mean, hell, Jesus, whatever. But you know what? I feel very much, and not any of you who have seen the deposition video clip. I think she feels guilty that she knows that she accused someone who wasn't guilty of anything. I think she feels guilt over that, but I don't think she feels enough guilt that she's, trying to clear her conscience and come forward and say, no, he's not the one. That's
Yeah,
where she needs to be now.
all she has to say is, I mean, if she was raped by a police officer, she never was given the opportunity to give her version of events before Kim told her what happened.
Yeah. I have no idea what.
We know who did this to you.
Yeah.
Where do you go from there?
Right.
I'm having issues here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, Kim Davis, well, just like with all of them, did I share what is happening?
Maybe we could look over Terry Mack's police report and Edwin Smith's police report if they exist. I can't remember.
I can't. I
I
don't
feel like-
remember. Yeah.
I feel like
Not
Edwin
sure.
has.
I think they do. I think I looked them up I looked them up recently, but I can look again.
Okay.
We should read through those after this.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now I think I have it. Oh, Lord. Okay. Okay, there we go. I got it right now. I need to figure out how to do this. I know that I can fix this so that I can have all of us in one section and also fill the screen more with the trial testimony. I'll have to play with that later. But anyway, okay. So Cherie's looking for that. We'll go over those after a while. But we can go ahead and start on
Terry Mack.
yeah, we can just start with direct examination by Ms. McConnell, by Terry Mack.
Mr. Mack, do you know a person by the name of Sherry Ellis?
Yes.
And how do you know Ms. Ellis?
We were together for about 19 years.
Okay. And when you say together, were you in a dating relationship?
Yes.
And did you reside together for a certain period of time?
Yes, we did.
And whenever you were living with Sherry Ellis, were you living with her during May in the summer of 2014?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
May?
And sometime
Wait. What was that? Oh, May. I forgot.
May when the alleged assault occurred.
I was thinking we were still on Edwin Smith. Good God.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Carry on.
Okay, and sometime during May of 2014, did Sherry Ellis tell you something that was unusual that had happened to her?
Yes, she did.
What was her demeanor whenever she told you this thing?
She was a little distraught. And do you want me to tell you what she told me?
No, I just want you to tell me for now how she was acting whenever she told you this.
Well, she was just distraught, like scared, like, what's wrong? And then, she told me what had happened.
When you said that she was distraught, was she crying?
Well, somewhat, yeah.
Was this a type of distraught way that she was acting? Was this something that she had acted like before? Was this something you saw?
No.
God.
Jeez.
Can she
Did she
speak?
describe? Yeah. Did she describe something that had happened to her?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And this thing that she described that had happened to her, Was that what was making her upset and distraught?
Yes.
And specifically, what did she tell you, sir?
Your Honor, I object. May we approach?
Come on up.
Your Honor, I object on hearsay and also improper bolstering. Additionally, I have Mr. Mack's interview by the Oklahoma City Police Department. He never says anything about her being distraught or somewhat crying. Says anything about her being or in any way, shape, or form. I have been on notice that he's gonna testify to her demeanor. And he already has. No, they're getting ready to try and elicit a hearsay statement from him about what the witness has already testified to. And I object to it as being cumulative, being bolstering, also being hearsay, Your Honor.
Your Honor, with regard to the hearsay objection, it qualifies as an excited utterance.
My God.
Uh,
Pete.
Okay.
Jesus.
He was
Miss
excited.
Ellis.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Miss Ellis already testified that whenever the event happened to her that she described in front of the jury with Officer Holtzclaw, is she came home and told Terry Mack immediately what had happened. Mr. Mack has also testified that she came in and told him something around May 2014 and how she was acting whenever she said that. It comes in as an excited utterance because it describes an event that she was upset about that had happened, according to Sherry Ellis's testimony, mere minutes before.
Sorry.
Okay, well, this witness hasn't said it either May or summer of 2014, so I'm going to sustain the objection.
And Judge, if I may, I realized after Mr. Adams had objected that I had yet to ask him specifically, although Ms. Ellis has testified to the timing of it. But after I ask him about the timing, my offer of proof is that he will say that she described something to him that had occurred to her minutes before. And then I'm going to ask again the question about what did she tell him. So should I approach before then?
Well, I guess we'll see if the foundation is laid.
So as to approach before, okay? What? Mr.
Well,
Mack.
before we start back, just one brief comment. So, Sherry Ellis telling Terry Mack right after it happened is an excited utterance. Sherry Ellis telling, what was his name, Edwin?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daily guy? A month later, it's an excited utterance. It can't be both. It can't be. It can't. So anyway.
I agree.
Say it.
Mr. Mack, the thing that you told me about that Ms. Ellis had described to you that had occurred with her, do you remember telling me that?
Yes.
Okay. Was it something that had happened to Ms. Ellis the same day as she told you?
Yes.
Had it happened just minutes before she came home and told you?
Yes.
And what specifically did Miss Ellis tell you?
Same objections as I previously stated, Your Honor.
Come up here just a minute. This is the thing. I think you've laid a foundation for excited, utterance. But what we got to make sure is the witness is an excited utterance. An excited utterance to be admissible has to be specifically what someone said, not a paraphrase, not a roundabout, or those kinds of things.
Sure.
I think the foundation is laid if this was minutes after this happened. It was made while she was under the stress of the event. So I'll allow it, but it's got to be specific. If he starts saying something else, then Mr. Adams, you feel free to object and see where it goes.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying. It can't be right after an event. and then a month later,
Yeah.
like Giger tried to pull. I mean, you can just,
Yeah.
God, I'll
So
shut up now.
slimy.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, he's slimy.
And Mr. Mack, I want you to tell me what Ms. Ellis told you, but I want you to use her words specifically, not paraphrasing. Do you understand?
Well, she came in the house and she was acting all funny and she was like tearful like, and I asked her, "What's the matter?"
Did you say she was tearful like?
Yeah.
Okay, what did she say?
Well, I asked her, I said, "What is the matter?" And she said, "A policeman. I just got raped by a policeman." And I just said, "What?" She said, "A policeman raped me." I said, "Okay, well, let's go to the hospital and get a DNA test because if he raped you," I said, "the policeman's DNA is on file, so they don't contaminate a crime scene. They know the difference between their DNA and a perpetrator's."
Oh, wow. Sorry.
He says perpetrator. Okay, right.
How did Ms. Ellis respond to that?
Well, that's when she really like started crying and breaking down, and I said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Well, how many man's sperm is going to be in you?" And she told me 2, and I said, "We can still go get a DNA." She said,
All right, counsel, come up. I don't know if you were going to object to this, but what he's talking about, going to the hospital and all that kind of stuff, is not an excited utterance about the event.
Just so that the record was clear, I'd objected to any hearsay statements as improper bolstering, it being cumulative, and it being hearsay and not admissible. I objected to all of it, and I just figured that the court had overruled me and told her they had laid a proper foundation.
Well, as far as an excited utterance, but discussing going to the hospital.
I disagree.
And I'll move on, Your Honor.
I'm sure you already
"Yeah,
got it
the
in.
damage is done, Blondie."
Can't unring the bell now.
So, did Miss Ellis go to the hospital that day, Mr. Mack?
No, she didn't.
Did you or she report to police what had happened that day?
No. She said she was afraid of what?
Without telling me what she said, Mr. Mack, did you report to police?
No, we didn't.
After that happened, did you continue to live with Ms. Ellis for a while?
Yes, we did.
Did you notice any changes in her behavior and demeanor?
Yes.
Can you tell me about those?
Judge, again, I would object under the previously provided discovery, as I discussed earlier.
All right, overruled.
You can answer, Mr. Mack.
She was reluctant to go outside. She was withdrawn. She just wasn't herself.
May I have a brief moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Mack, those behavior changes that you just described to me, how long did you observe those in Ms. Ellis?
About like 2 weeks or so, I think.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, any cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mack, it's my understanding that back in 2014, your living girlfriend was Ms. Ellis.
Yes.
You would agree with me that at that point in time, Ms. Ellis was a convicted felon, correct?
Yes.
You also have some prior felony convictions, correct?
Could I ask a question?
Well, you can answer the question.
Yeah, I was a convicted felon, but I didn't rape no women.
No, you actually sold drugs here in Oklahoma City area.
No, I didn't.
So whenever you pled guilty, you were convicted of.
I have never pled guilty for selling drugs.
Hang on a second, Mr. Mack.
Okay, well, don't let him say things
Hang on.
that I didn't do.
Hang on. Listen to me. I'm the one that gives the orders around here.
Okay, thank you.
Not you, not him, not anybody but me.
Okay, well, don't accuse me of something I didn't do.
Listen, answer the question as best you can. Let him ask a question, then you can answer it. If the DA thinks something needs to be cleared up, they'll have an opportunity. The way this system works is a person gets to ask questions, the witness answered, the DA gets to clear up anything that they want to clear up. So you need to just listen to the questions and answer best you can.
Mr. Mack, I want to be fair with you. Then you said that you were a convicted felon. Tell the jury what you're a convicted felon of.
Possession of a straight shooter,
What is a straight shooter?
a pipe that you use to smoke crack.
Well-
Are you?
What? Wait. Sorry.
That's not a felony.
You don't get a felony for being in possession
Of a
of
crack
drug
pipe?
paraphernalia. You just don't.
No,
Come on. Liar. Okay, sorry.
that's all right. And are you saying that's all that you're a convicted felon of?
Yes.
You also understand that being a convicted felon, you're not allowed to have a firearm, correct?
Yes.
Are you a convicted felon for having a firearm?
For pawning a firearm.
Okay. So you were in possession of a firearm while you were. If you'll let me finish my question, sir, I'll let you finish your answer. Are you a convicted felon? As a convicted felon, did you own, use, or possess a firearm?
No.
So you deny that charge.
Yes.
Okay. May I have just one moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
Do you recall being here in Oklahoma County and pleading guilty to possession of a controlled dangerous substance and possession of a firearm?
No.
Okay. Do you recall at any time being sentenced to 5 years in the penitentiary for that?
That's what I was sentenced to 5 years in the penitentiary for probation violation, from my understanding. I didn't know nothing about a firearm.
Probation violation of what felony? God.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay. So if your felony convictions show that you were carrying a firearm at the time you were committing a felony, you would deny that fact, correct?
I sure would.
Do you recall being convicted in 3 separate felony cases? And I'll be happy to give you the felony case numbers if you want me to read them off to you.
Read them off.
Okay. CF-97-06767 here in Oklahoma County. Case.
Sorry, counsel. Hold on.
CF-97, let me just start over. CF-97-06767 here in Oklahoma County. CF-99-01242 here in Oklahoma County. CF-99-03057. Would you agree with me that those are 3 separate felony cases here in Oklahoma County that either you were convicted of or pled guilty to?
I don't even know what they are.
Okay. Well, do you recall ever being charged or being convicted of obstructing a criminal matter, an investigation?
No, I do not.
You recall being, I think you testified earlier, you were convicted of a straight shooter and you believe that that was a crack pipe, correct?
Yeah.
So you do recall that one.
Yeah, I recall that. That's what I was sentenced for.
Wow.
You recall you recall being convicted of another drug crime after that one?
Yes, I was convicted of a drug crime.
After the crack, after the straight shooter.
Yes, because the policeman said, you have a drug case and you're going to have another one.
So was it the police were just lying?
Who was lying?
The police. Are you suggesting to this jury that the police were lying on your second conviction?
I sure am.
Okay. And then, in addition to that, they were lying when they said that you had a firearm during the commission of a felony offense here in Oklahoma City area.
I was in a pawn shop. A guy was standing there and I said, I don't have my ID.
Sir, I'm not asking you.
Would you pawn this for me?
Your Honor, I would ask that the witness be instructed to answer.
All right.
No.
Listen to the
Listen to it.
question.
I'm sorry.
Listen to
No,
the
I'm-
question and just answer it the best you can.
What did you intend on doing with the firearm here in Oklahoma City community when you were a convicted felon?
I didn't have
Objection to relevance.
a firearm
Hang on.
in the Oklahoma City community.
Sir,
I had a firearm
listen to me, sir.
in a pawn shop.
Sir, you're going to have to follow my instructions, my orders.
Okay.
If you don't do that, there's going to be problems. Objection sustained.
Boy, this guy blew up. What a freaking hothead. Mr. Mack, what you say happened in this particular case is you're living with Miss Ellis back in the summer of 2014, correct?
Come again?
Were you living with Miss Ellis during the summer of 2014?
Are you saying, excuse me, I'm not understanding. Are you saying, did all this happen when I was living with Miss Ellis?
No, sir. I'm not suggesting that.
Okay.
I'm just asking you. I'm trying to lay a foundation of whether or not you were living with Miss Ellis during the summer of 2014.
Yes, I was.
Okay. You were also living with her for the entire calendar year of 2014. That would have been last year.
No.
Okay. When did Miss Ellis remove herself from your residence?
I had a stroke and I don't remember things.
Do you recall when you had a stroke?
I don't know. I think not really. Well, honestly, no.
Okay. This alleged conversation that you supposedly had with Miss Ellis that you testified here today, was it prior to your stroke or was it subsequent to your stroke?
It was after the stroke.
Okay. So after the stroke, it's my understanding that Miss Ellis came home one evening and she was upset is under your testimony, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then she told you at that point in time that she had been raped by an Oklahoma City police officer.
Yes.
Again, this Oklahoma City police officer, did she describe him to you in any way?
As best she could.
As best she could. What did she tell you?
Policeman raped her.
Did she tell you that it was a black policeman?
She said she thought he was black.
And had you ever seen that policeman in the neighborhood before?
All the time.
Okay. And so you believed it to be a black policeman?
No.
Oh, what?
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 Happening?
Wow. That's contradictory. Well, in any event, after she allegedly told you these events, you said you encouraged her to go to get a DNA test, correct?
Correct.
And you told her that even you asked her specifically, how many sperms do you have in you?
Yes.
And did you suspect that she was doing something she should not be doing?
No.
Wait a
Okay.
minute. Sorry. But he had had a stroke, and they weren't, according to Sherry Ellis, they weren't having sex
Yep,
because he had had a stroke.
that's right.
But he doesn't suspect her of doing anything
No,
she shouldn't be doing when she said she had 2 sperm in her. That's
She-
very
well,
Well,
you know how
maybe
it
he
is.
was okay with it, and it wasn't something.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't wrong for him. Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, some people don't care.
Yeah, it's true.
True.
I mean, he
Okay.
is quite a bit older than Sherry, and maybe he really just wanted her to stay living there.
Yeah.
Have the company. Yeah, have
Yeah,
somebody to
that's
be
true.
keep him company. Maybe.
I mean,
Possible.
maybe it's speculation,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
could
that
see
it's
it
logical speculation, though. You're right.
really.
Okay. But she told you. But she told you there would be 2, correct?
Correct.
And at any time did you suggest that she save her clothing or her underwear or anything for future DNA testing?
Well, having no forensic science experience, no.
So you would agree with me that on a date, whenever it was, you don't know the specific day that she supposedly came home and told you these events, correct?
Not to be specific, no.
You'd agree with me that they were the very first time you ever talked to the police in this case about Officer Holtzclaw was September the 15th of 2014.
Well, whenever somebody from the police department called me, I don't know the exact date. They called me over the phone.
Okay. At any point in time during this investigation, did the police officers ever come and see you face to face, the detectives?
No.
It was all over the telephone.
Yeah.
Do you know whether or not that phone call was recorded in any way?
Yes.
Did you record it?
No. But I have the recording.
Okay. Prior to and who gave you the recording?
When I came down here to be interviewed prior to the proceedings, they gave me that. What the hell?
Oh my gosh.
Wow. I'm assuming.
Shade just gets darker and darker, man.
Hey.
Sorry.
That's weird.
It is
Where
weird.
was that to
That
refresh his
recording.
memory about what he said initially?
What he
Here,
needs to
listen
say,
to
yeah.
this.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Of course
Yeah.
it was. Here,
Freaking
take this
gear.
home and practice.
Yep.
Geek gore.
May I approach Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm assuming, Mr. Mack, that appears to be the police report that was generated in this case. I'm talking, have you actually received a copy of the phone call, this recording that you're saying that was made?
This is it.
Okay. And that's a police report. I just want to make sure that we're communicating. When I was stating or when I was asking whether or not you know whether or not it was recorded, do you have any independent knowledge of whether or not the phone call that you had with the detective that is reflected on that report, whether or not it was recorded, meaning a recording device was hooked up and it was taped?
Well, either she's got a dang good memory or it had to be recorded because it's verbatim what we discussed.
Oh my God.
Wow, such big words.
I'm confused. Wait a minute. What recording is he talking about?
When
His phone
Detective
call.
Davis,
Yeah.
they asked, did he know if Detective Davis recorded the conversation when she called to interview him about his involvement and what Sherry said and when and all that?
Yeah.
And he says yes. I mean, she should have recorded it just like she recorded
yeah.
Sherry Ellis when she called her.
Right?
Sure.
She has the
Right.
Yep.
capability.
So I guess where I'm confused is where he answers either she's got a dang good memory or it had to be recorded because it's verbatim what we discussed.
He's
The
assuming.
transcript
Yeah.
or the
Okay.
report.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I dropped a couple of lines there. I'm sorry. Carry on.
Yeah, he's saying the police report, I guess, is what he has in his hand there is verbatim what
Verbatim.
he told her
Prob-
during that call.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
either
it's probably
it
got
had
a
to be recorded.
Yeah, it's got
Yeah.
a transcript. I'm assuming.
We'll have to look, Sherry, when you get that pulled up so we can look at it. Okay, sorry. Carry on. 25.
Nope. Now, would you agree with me that it reflects that the first time you talked to the police in this case was September the 15th of 2014?
Well, to be honest, I don't know the exact date, so I'm gonna have to, if this stipulate that date, yes. What?
His
What in the
words are
world?
freaking me out, man.
Stipulate?
He's throwing around some pretty big
In the
lawyer
law
words
school?
here. I'm telling you.
Perpetrator? Stipulate?
Yeah.
He's never been convicted of a felony.
Verbatim?
Seems
Verbatim,
pretty familiar
yeah.
with the legal system. I don't know.
He does. Okay.
And I'm referring to the very first line of the interview with Terry Mack on
Yes.
September 15th of 2014. Is that the conversation that we're talking about?
Yes.
September the 15th of 2014. Was Miss Ellis still living in your residence?
No.
Okay. When did Miss Ellis move out of your residence?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay. If we use the event when she allegedly told you something that happened, if we use that event as a benchmark, was she still living with you at that point in time?
Yes.
Okay. How long after she had this conversation with you did she move out?
I guess 2 months,
Okay.
approximately.
At any point during that 2-month period of time that Miss Ellis lived with you, are you aware of Miss Ellis ever talking to the police, anyone with the Oklahoma City Police Department, about Officer Holtzclaw?
No.
And again, whenever you supposedly learned this information, you would agree with me that you did not report it or call the police in any way, correct?
Correct.
You also testified that you noticed a change in Miss Ellis' behavior after she talked to you about this event, correct?
Correct.
And were you aware of the fact that at that point in time that she had any sort of drug or alcohol problem?
Not to my knowledge, she wasn't. I think she drank a little, but as far as any other drugs, not to my knowledge.
Are you aware of her having a romantic relationship with another individual here in Oklahoma City?
Subsequent to this, I am.
Yes, and what was that individual's name?
All I knew was Ed.
Ed? Did you ever have an opportunity to talk to Ed?
Miss McConnell, objection, relevance?
No.
Oh, I
Line
guess I
one.
got the wrong one. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well-
Was I muted?
Yeah, you were probably muted.
Objection, relevance.
Overruled. You can answer, sir. Did you ever have an opportunity to talk to Ed?
Then, no. I had no reason to.
Okay, after Miss Ellis supposedly told you these events had occurred, did you have an opportunity to seek out other individual and talk to him?
No.
And to this day, you still have not?
I've spoken with him, but not in regard to that matter.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mack, Mr. Adams just asked you if you had ever reported to the police what had happened, or if Ms. Ellis had. Do you remember that question?
Come again?
Do you remember Mr. Adams asking you if you had ever talked to police before that September 15th date?
Uh-huh.
And I think your answer was no, you had not.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. Why didn't you tell police what had happened before September 15th?
She was scared and didn't want to.
Is the fact that Ms. Ellis was scared and didn't want to part of your reason for not talking to police?
I didn't get raped.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you, sir. You'll be excused. If you'll assist Mr. Mack.
Wow. Call him Mr. Lawyer.
Well, I really thought that they were going to try to clear up that recording thing, but they didn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Nope.
Yeah, that's
And I mean,
So have you ever
Max-
heard the recording?
there's no, I mean, no recording was ever produced to the defense. So,
Well, that's
I mean-
crap.
so either he's saying that the police report sounds verbatim of the conversation he had with her. It's hard to know. I mean, is he smart enough to try to cover up what he said? I don't know.
Well, you could really answer that question if you had a copy of that police report, and if there's a transcript attached, that means there's a recording.
No, there's no
Yeah.
transcript attached. I promise
Oh.
you, there's no transcript. There's no
Okay.
recording or transcript of this. So,
Okay.
you know, we can read over the police report and see what he says in that.
yeah.
Most
Fine.
police
Well-
reports differ from trial testimony.
Sure.
I mean, most police reports differ between between if a recording exists, it's different from the recording. The detectives leave out things that are exculpatory to Holtzclaw, or they change words to make it seem more damning, or they change words to use a word that another accuser used to try to, so the jury will think, oh, that's the same as what she said. But then it doesn't match the recording. This is the
And
police.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then there are times, especially probably with both of them, but I remember it right now more with Rocky, where they put in little sentences to give it, put their own what they think in it, like instead of at exactly what the victim said, they put their own feelings in, or what they think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get what you're saying.
Put
for
their
sure.
spin on it, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, do you want to read Edwin Smith's part of the police report, or just go to Terry Mack?
Let's do both of them.
Okay, let me.
Doesn't matter which one we start with.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, it might be better to start with Mac since we just finished his testimony.
Okay. Let me just. I'm not seeing the same page numbers that you were. Okay, here it is.
I was going by the numbers on the bottom. I don't know, the
Gotcha.
handwritten
Okay.
numbers.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Okay, here it is. I got it. Let me share the screen. And hello and welcome to all of those who have joined since we've been chatting and going over testimony. Happy to have you here. Okay, so this is, I can try to read this one. If you, excuse me. Okay, so this is in Sherry Ellis's police report, the interview with Terry Mack.
By Kim
On
Davis.
by Kim Davis, yes, thank you. On 9/15/14, I interviewed Terry Mack over the telephone. Terry is a 65-year-old black male. He is disabled and in a wheelchair. He said he can get up and walk short distances, but cannot walk very far. Terry
What
said
does
he's no
that
joke.
matter?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Why is that important?
Yeah.
Is there an
Is
extra
it?
line in her? I don't think it's important. But I find very little of what Kim Davis says important. So
Irrelevant.
yeah. Terry said he has known Sherry almost 20 years. They were a couple for about 19. He said they lived together majority of the 19 years. He said this incident caused them to break up. Well, I don't know that the. Oh, never
You
2 months
know,
later.
yeah.
but didn't he say it didn't bother him, or she didn't do anything wrong, or something like that?
Haven't done anything
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Terry said Sherry came home that night and told him a police officer raped her. She told him he drove down a dead-end street, hopped the curb, and drove on the Crescent Hill school property. And this really pisses me off because all we have is just what she's written here. We don't have the alleged recording.
Right.
So we just have to take her word for it, what he's saying, like in all the other reports. I asked Terry if Sherry told him what the officer did to her sexually. He said she told him he made her perform oral sodomy and did her from behind. Sherry told him the officer asked her, "What are we going to do about these tickets?" Huh. Did she though? Terry said he asked if she wanted to do a rape kit. He told her police officers' DNA is on file, just like criminals, that way if they touch something at a crime scene, it won't be contaminated. Stupidest thing I've heard, but whatever. He said Sherry didn't want to have a rape exam. Terry asked if she had someone else's sperm in her. She said yes. He told her he told her she has been in trouble for prostitution and now she has 2 sperm in her. He said Sherry didn't want to go for the exam. He said she was afraid of what would happen as a result of reporting an officer for rape. He said she was paranoid for a few days and didn't want to leave the house. Then she said she wasn't going to let what he did make her stop seeing her friends. That is not at all what she says in her telephone interview or in her recorded interview with Davis, but whatever, or what she testified to. Terry said whenever Sherry left the house, he would see the police car parked down the street on Miramar. Whatever. He said he would go sit on the porch and could see the officer parked watching for Sherry. Come on. Sorry.
Well, if it's the black guy, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if it was, for sure. He would see cars run a stop sign and the officer wouldn't go after them, and that is why he thought he was watching for her. He kept telling Sherry the officer was going to hurt her and she needed to stay off the streets. Wow. He told her that officers all stick together and her word would not count for anything over this. Terry said the officer would drive through the area all the time. He told Sherry the officer was looking for her and to be careful. Terry said he stopped going outside for fear of trouble with the officer. He said this is the reason he moved, because he didn't know what the officer or his friends would do. What? Whatever. I don't know about that. So that's interesting. I mean, thank goodness none of that kind of shit came up in trial. I mean, obviously, I don't know, man. Can you imagine? All right, Sherry, what was that other page?
She didn't ask him about the officer's race, did she?
68.
No.
Sorry.
68.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just 2 pages apart.
Oh, okay. 67, 60.
Back up. 68. Go up. You're on 69 right now, and then the one before that is Edwin, where he starts.
Okay. Oh, okay, there it is. Sorry, guys. Okay, so then this one is the interview with Edwin Smith, the boyfriend. On 9/12/14, I contacted Edwin Smith over the telephone. He is Sherry Ellis's boyfriend. Edwin is currently on federal supervised probation for narcotics. His probation officer is Carrie at whatever number. Edwin said he and Sherry have been talking since August 2013. She was living with Terry Mack at the time, but they were also seeing each other. He said Sherry and Terry lived around the corner from his mother's house on 1705 Miramar. And I have found that on a map. And also, Sherry and Edwin moved right next door to 1705 on Miramar next to his mother. So, just little fun facts. Um, Edwin confirmed. Edwin confirmed he and Sherry had consensual sex the night she was assaulted by Officer Holtzclaw. He said Sherry came to his house. He lived with his mother at the time. They hung out together and they had consensual sex. He did not wear a condom and he ejaculated inside of her. He said Sherry left his house on foot. She told him she was going home. He later found out that she didn't want to go home, so she started walking to her cousin's house somewhere near Highland. Oh. So, albeit a small lie, there is a lie in there. Edwin said about 1 month after Sherry was assaulted, she told him about it. She said, quote unquote, I got raped. He replied, quote, no, you didn't. Who raped you? End quote. She said, I got raped by a police officer. He replied, no, you didn't. She said he is a black guy and it happened next to a school. Edwin said she started crying and she said she couldn't see the number on the police car. She told him she thought it was the officer who was always in the neighborhood. Edwin asked her if she told anyone about it. Sherry told him she told Terry the night it happened, and she said that Terry wanted her to go have a rape exam, but she told him no. She said Terry asked her why she wouldn't have an exam and asked if she had sex with someone else. Sherry said she told Terry the truth and admitted she had sex with someone else. She said Terry told her they couldn't detect if she was raped or not because she has 2 sperms in her. Edwin said he does not know if Sherry and Terry broke up because of their relationship. He said that is something that I need to talk to Sherry about. Edwin told me he has to contact his probation officer anytime he has contact with the police. I told him I would contact her and advise her what is going on. He gave me her name and telephone number. I was able to make contact with her and tell her the reason for his contact with the police. I don't know. I mean, I just see small inconsistencies, honestly. I don't know that I really see anything, overwhelming, that, I don't know. That's just me. Anybody else?
Hey, sorry, I got sidetracked over here with something else. So,
Okay, I was just
not
starting to
on-
think
I'm
I've
sorry.
disappeared. No, you're fine. Yeah, I was just wondering, I guess what you guys think. I didn't really feel like there was anything overwhelming, some small inconsistencies, but I don't feel like there's anything that would, make a huge difference, really.
So the whole upset and crying and all of that, the whole demeanor thing that each guy testified to, was that in the police reports?
No.
So
Not like,
that's the main thing that Giger and McConnell were trying to use these two witnesses for,
mm-hmm.
and those things weren't in the police report.
Right.
So
yeah,
and
which is,
I kind of have to give Terry Mack credit that he said the police lie about things. I mean, we know the police lie, but
yeah,
that's about as far
Yeah.
as I'm going to go for him. I have to agree that they do, but
yeah. I was thinking that as you guys were reading that, I was like, yeah, that's true.
Well, I tend to believe that she probably was raped by a black cop. I don't know.
That's pretty much
Yeah.
what I tend to believe too, Susan. It wasn't Daniel, for certainly.
I believe that as well, and I just think the turning point for her going along with this was when Kim Davis told her, Sherry,
Mm-hmm.
if I didn't believe you, I wouldn't have been trying to find you. And Sherry, I know which officer did this to you.
Yeah.
And then after that is when she gives the route. We don't have, Davis didn't record the car ride where they took her so she could show them the route. We don't have that recording. So we don't know if she was confused about why they're using the location that is a traffic stop that she had recently been involved in. A traffic stop, a Terry stop, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and unfortunately, as far as we know, there was no AVL taken of any other police officer that might have been working in anywhere in the vicinity of that sector that night. But that wasn't the goal anyway.
Well, more than likely, it didn't happen on that day.
Right.
Exactly.
What are the chances it's going to happen on a day? And she would have been freaked out if she had already been raped. Okay.
Yeah.
It didn't happen on that day because after she alleges that she was raped, she went straight back to the house. And she didn't leave the house or anything, right? Is she the one who says that she didn't walk around anymore in the daytime? Or am I confusing her
in
with
the night? Yeah. She said she quit
outside.
going out at night. If she didn't have her groceries or her stuff at the store done before it got dark, she just didn't do it. And she made it sound like that was ongoing from the time that it occurred to that very time during her phone interview. That was my impression, that for all these months she hasn't been going out anymore at night. But Terry Mack said that, she stopped going out for a few days. And then, according to him, he was telling her, girl, you got to stay off the streets at night. He's out there. I see him. He's watching for you. He's going to hurt you. You got to stop going out. That's not the impression that I got listening to her interviews at all. So
I
I
just
don't
think,
know.
Kim Davis could have told her, Sherry, you know, being raped can really traumatize you. And trust me, it happened here and on this date. I know who did this to you. So trust me, you're traumatized.
Yep.
You're not remembering correctly or something like that.
Yep. I completely agree with that. And she went along with it because she probably did think that I must have made a mistake then. And yeah, well, she did. I mean, she couldn't even identify Daniel in court during the preliminary hearing. So, and according to her in her deposition, she didn't know who it was that even raped her until they went to trial. So, I mean, I think those are just some of the reasons why I feel like Sherry Ellis's story is so, I don't know, important isn't the right word, but so much bigger or something than the others, because there's a lot of um, I don't know, there's just a lot of secretive, shady shit that went on from beginning to uh, at least to the trial, when she realized, oh, this is who they're saying raped me. I don't know. A lot went on. And those are the things that, Brian Bates, I almost said Brian Adams, Brian Bates, points out in episode 9 of his podcast. So, um, Justine J says, but how do they justify the fact that she said he was black, but Daniel is not? It's very confusing. Um,
It's dark out there.
yeah.
Um,
like Susan was saying a few minutes ago, I think Kim Davis convinced her that it was dark, Sherry. It was 1 o'clock in the morning when this happened, and you just think he was black. He really isn't black though. And again, to Susan's point, she probably at that point in time thought, okay, yeah, you're probably right then. But I think that's the only way it's justified.
well,
Justine, I don't know.
I honestly think that she didn't understand that Daniel was white, that the person that they were saying raped her. I don't think she even got that. It was Daniel. That I don't know. I don't know. There was so much coverage on TV. Maybe I'm wrong, but didn't she say she had never seen him before court?
That's what
Wasn't
she
that
says in
Sherry?
her deposition. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like she didn't even really understand what was going on. I don't know.
She didn't recognize him in court, of course. She was probably
Right?
looking for a black guy.
Yeah.
Probably why.
Yeah. Yeah. I should put the link to that 8-minute video clip in the chat so that people can go watch it. Just because it becomes even more impactful again, after now we've read all the trial testimony and we've
What?
gone through. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you in the sentence. I'm bad about that.
Well, I'm sure it was important. So,
No, I was just going to say we should end the podcast with that and play it if you have it handy.
oh, yeah, I can get it.
Well, whenever you get ready to end the podcast, but
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it while we're chatting. I mean, I know I can find it, but yeah, it's I don't know, it's just because there's so many questions around her entire story that just aren't logical to me. They just, the things just don't make sense to me. And so I think that's why I get all twisted with her case, her story.
And,
You know,
and
when I
because,
was,
oh, sorry.
oh, go ahead, Sherry.
I was just going to make one comment that it all the inconsistencies, and then she's the one he got the most years for. So it just very upsetting.
They
Yeah.
split the baby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they sure did.
I was just gonna say her I think by the time she was in depositions, she knew that she had helped send the wrong guy to prison for 62 years. I thought, oh, she's being a pathetic crybaby trying to get sympathy. I think she was tearful that whole time because of guilt.
Yeah, I absolutely feel that way. Because, and you know what, you're right, Kay, because she cried through just about the entire deposition, as I recall. She was quite upset during the whole thing. Not necessarily like boohoo crying, like she was at that part at the end, but she was
real
very
tears.
tearful. Yeah,
Real
but real
tears.
tears, yeah. Yeah, real tears. Justine J asked, did the defense ever show her photos of all the black cops in the station? No. No, they didn't. Of any cops in the station. This is one case where I feel like a photo lineup might have been beneficial, which is why I feel like they couldn't show her a photo lineup. If she's looking for a black man, she's not going to pick Daniel. But that's my opinion. So, yeah, her case is pretty significant, and like it's been mentioned already, the 62 years on his charges. I don't know how now my sympathy has waned for her, because she now knows, or definitely did by the time of her deposition, if not sooner, that she accused the wrong man. And I don't know how she sleeps at night. Well, they all know that, but she's one of the more mentally or emotionally or something together, I guess you could say, of all of them. And I just feel like her conscience should be weighing on her a lot more, but I'm being very judgmental. That's not fair. But I really don't care, because she is a liar, and what she's done to an innocent man is disgusting. So anyway, yeah, that's a good idea. I've got that pulled up. I don't have it loaded, but we can watch it from the browser. So
Sure.
any other comments or questions or anything about Sherry Ellis and her story? Great questions, by the way. Thank you, Justine.
Not for me.
Stover 76. I'm not sure. I recall seeing you in our chat before, but you're sending a sick face. I am hoping that's because you feel sick about what's been done to Daniel. And welcome. Justine also asks or says, it would be interesting to see if any black cops were sacked or moved from that police station since this case. Well, Kay, do you want to talk about Alexander Edwards? Or, I mean, it was 2 years after, but still.
Yeah, but so Alexander Edwards is a short black officer who, a couple years after Daniel's conviction, was charged with basically blowing up a oh, what do you call it? Like undercover
Sting.
sting operation that involved prostitution and was it human trafficking, I believe?
Yes.
And he told one of the prostitutes he had been sleeping with, he gave her a heads up that it was getting ready to happen. So he just completely destroyed, I don't know how many months or years they had been working on this, but he completely blew it up. He was working. Okay, so once again, I agree with Susan. If she was raped by a police officer, it wasn't that night. And so all we know is that that night, May 7th, he was working in the adjacent area. I can't remember the terminology about what you call the different areas, if it's a
It
sector
was
or
just north of where Daniel was.
Yeah, it was just
right.
It was the next sector north, exactly.
But I think that here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to accuse every short black officer of being the officer. I don't want to accuse people of being the person without any evidence or any I just, you know, okay, yeah, this guy did some illegal stuff and he was sleeping with prostitutes, but I mean, is he a serial rapist? I don't want to call someone
Not
a
any more
serial
than
rapist.
Daniel was. Yeah. No, of course not.
I mean, and
But I just feel like if there's a possible, and they don't use it this term in Oklahoma, it's a different case, and I can't. Sherry will remember. I don't. But it's a possible third party, um, third party, third party liability or whatever they call it.
Perpetrator.
General perpetrator. Yeah, it's a possible one that wasn't investigated to our knowledge. So that's the only reason that, yeah, I agree. I mean, because of what's been done to Daniel, we absolutely can't, just blatantly blame somebody else or accuse somebody else. So I definitely, definitely want to address Stover 76. Thank you again for your comments. I truly appreciate it. And I'm happy to address, or any panel members or anybody in the chat can also address it. But Stover 76 says that they are sick at our theory on this. Completely respect that. And because that's what this is. It's all a theory.
well,
You're
sure.
right.
It
Yeah, you're right.
absolutely is.
It's absolute, because we don't have proof.
We weren't there.
Exactly. So it is all a theory. But I think it's fair to present both sides. The one side has already been told. The mainstream media told you everything that they wanted you to see and hear, or the public to see and hear.
And the trial.
And the trial. And so that's all I'm doing here, Stover, is I'm just presenting the information that we've obtained, that absolutely occurred at trial, based on the trial testimony and police reports. And I'm not presenting both sides. I'm absolutely not. I don't need to present the other side. I can't present the other side because it's already been presented. What I can do though is share what we have found in the police reports and in all of the testimony and other documents that we've obtained. And when any of us see an inconsistency or a blatant lie, then that's what I can show. And that's all I'm doing. Just showing you. And because you also, we don't just read, part of the testimony of the testimony of the testimony. Oh, sorry, Strover, I apologize. I, I didn't catch that R there. But I just think it's fair to share the side that we're learning, that we're investigating, that we're researching, because for whatever reasons that absolutely wasn't done in the mainstream media. Number one, number two, you know, not everything in at the trial and the preliminary and in the police reports was necessarily told in the truthfully. I don't know any other way to say it. And
Well,
so,
when you
and we know
when you
that.
yeah, when you have an initial interview and you say these things, and then you get subpoenaed to the preliminary hearing, and your testimony changes from your initial statement, and then at trial your testimony changes yet again to match the prosecution's narrative, then yeah, you're going to question it. You should question it. Why is that happening? Why did their memory get better with time? That's not how memory works. I mean, you know,
Okay.
I don't know what
Yeah,
else to
I
say.
agree. Strover says, my point is, I don't do listen to MSM, so my view isn't from there, it's from his interrogation. Oh, okay. 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 And there's, unfortunately or fortunately, I guess, depending on which side you're on, a lot of people make a judgment of guilty or an innocence judgment based on just interrogation videos alone. And that's, in my opinion, unfair. I watch a lot of interrogation videos. I'm fascinated by them. I find them very interesting. But I don't go into those videos that I like to watch assuming that the person is guilty, or even watch the entire thing and assume that the person is guilty. I don't buy into the whole body language thing and all of that stuff. I just don't. I mean,
That is not proof
yeah,
of guilt. Watching an
it's not.
interrogation.
Well,
It's not
I'm
what you do,
sorry.
I mean,
scientifically proven.
you could probably make a more informed decision if you actually knew the person, if you knew them very well and you knew, their how they speak, if you knew their little ticks and tells. People roasted Daniel for saying whatnot so many times. Well, that's just something Daniel said before, and he still says whatnot. I mean, people thought he was saying whatnot while he was thinking about what to say or whatever. But that's one of the things that, people judged him on. Well, I mean, so Strover, you think he's guilty based on the 2-hour interview? Is that right?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
His view is from his interrogation.
Well, I mean, then you do go assuming because there's a lot more information to analyze
Tons.
to draw your opinion. I mean, and that, I
Yeah.
mean,
Go ahead.
that information is out there now for people to find.
Yeah. And we're showing 1 week at a time, one document at a time, one information that we have. I well, like Kay was saying, first of all, I do know Daniel. I've come to know Daniel, I guess is a better thing to say. And oh, sorry, Strover,
Oh,
I
I knew
apologize.
I knew that was coming.
I
Like, how
apologize.
dare you
Sorry,
assume?
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Jesus,
Oh,
I apologize, Strover. But I discount the interrogation because, well, like I said, because I now know Daniel, and like Kay said, I am very familiar with his mannerisms and his thank you. I appreciate the grace. I'm not I'm not always, aware of certain things, so I appreciate that, Strover. Um, and so I've become familiar with the way he speaks, the words he uses. And as far as the word whatnot, I used whatnot before I ever even heard Daniel's interrogation video. And I hear a lot of people use that same word. So it is really sad that he was judged on that too, as much as he has been.
but
But
also
also,
the
oh,
things
sorry.
in the interrogation,
Yeah.
there were more things in the interrogation that Liggins got caught
Mm-hmm.
saying incorrect information.
Right.
I mean, she did not turn around in a parking lot when she got ready to go. She didn't pull into a parking lot at all. And I know the detective said that they found his pubic hairs in the back of his cruiser. Like all detectives, they
They're
are
allowed to
allowed
lie.
to lie during an interrogation. The general public believes that when they see that 2-hour interview. They absolutely believe that they found his pubic hairs in the back of the cruiser. They just did not. That was they were
that
just
was a
messing with.
lie.
Right.
I mean, she
Yeah.
says that he made her put her hands on the car in a specific place, and that he placed his hands on the car in a specific place. There were no prints or DNA to
In the
back her
dust.
story up, and he said that that did not happen. The evidence supported him in that. I mean, I'm interested to hear the things in the interview that were really that
Compelling.
really made you feel like he was guilty. What were some of the
Yeah.
things that really made you feel like he was guilty or he was lying?
Also, I think it's while we're waiting for Strover to respond, hopefully we'll respond. Um, I, it's also important to remember that Kim Davis, exactly. You would have to, sorry, you would have to ask Janie Liggins that question
No,
because she's
here's
the
what
one who
she
said it.
said. She said that he put his hands on top of the car to kind of because two vehicles drove by the area. You can see the lights in the there's a really
Video.
Video.
grainy surveillance video from the insurance company building where they were stopped in front of. And so Liggins was explaining that when the car drove by, he put his hands on top of the car to kind of hide what was going on.
Because he was
So,
standing right in front of her door, her
yeah,
open door,
on a busy street, even
supposedly.
though it was the middle of the night. You know, if you're from Oklahoma City, you know 50th and Lincoln is a
Major
busy
street.
intersection.
Is exposed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I also want to make, point this out as well, that Kim Davis said um, that she believed Janie Liggins in the hospital, in the emergency room, as she said, as soon as Janie told her her story, she believed her. She knew in her gut that Janie Liggins was telling her the truth. And she basically admits that, you know what? Thank you so much, Strover. Strover says, I'm actually impressed. This is live. I appreciate you ladies. And Jack. Jack's usually quieter. But thank you. That really is, I really do appreciate that, because you're at least willing to have an open mind and listen to what we have, to listen to the answers to the questions that you're posing and things like that. That's impressive to me. So thank you. But she went into this entire thing. There you go, Jack. She went into, before she even talked to Officer Holtzclaw, she went into that interrogation, already believing Janie Liggins. And she says that in other interviews that she's given in different documentaries and stuff like that. So that's not necessarily the way a police officer should enter into an investigation, by already believing that everything that the alleged victim is saying is the truth. That's not the way to enter, because that's not objective. So, and that's just one reason why. And then I'm going to just go all the way to nearly the end of the interrogation video, because honestly, everything in the middle really is less impactful on me, other than it was just kind of, even if you want to just call it police talk and, trying to get the guy to feel comfortable or whatever, you can call it that, that's fine. That's investigation. I didn't know. You didn't know about what Kim Davis had said before the interview, before the interrogation. But anyway, so everything in the middle is, it's important, but it's less consequential to me than what happened at the end, when Daniel said that he had gone home that night and tried to have sex with his girlfriend. He didn't say he had sex with his girlfriend. He said he tried, and she shut him down, and he was like, cool, whatever. And, went to bed, went to sleep. And then for Kim Davis to make this big deal about catching him in a lie, she went outside of the room and called Daniel's girlfriend and identified herself, I'm sure, but then just starts asking these personal questions. She's at the gym or she was at work, and I'm Detective
Out of the
Kim
blue.
Davis,
Really?
out of the blue. And if that ever happened to me and somebody called, I don't care who they identified themselves as, I would be saying, I don't know who you are. I'm not talking to you. So, but she did it twice. And that was, so I'm not surprised that she would tell somebody on the phone, no, that didn't happen, or whatever the answer really was that his girlfriend gave to Detective Davis. So, but then Kim Davis waited until that one thing. Now I caught you in a lie, and now I don't know what to believe. What? Yes, that's the context that Kim Davis gave us. That's her context of what happened.
There was also no DNA from Janie Liggins.
No DNA.
Same
Yeah.
kid.
No forensic evidence on Janie, regarding Janie Liggins whatsoever. And I don't know. I just didn't feel like as much as they tried to get him to confess to something, because I do know Daniel now, nothing about him has ever made me think that he might be he's an open book. He wants questions asked. He wants to, because he wants to get his information out there. So
He also wanted all the tests they could do.
he did. Yeah. Strover, please understand that I'm not on a side. I'm as much after the truth as you are. Thank you. It's so refreshing to have somebody come in and chat and comment with an open mind, because that's really all it takes. It just takes an open mind and a willingness to say, well, what if there is another side to this that I missed or I didn't understand or I've never heard before, and even further than that, being willing to at some point say, okay, now I'm sitting on the fence at least, and then perhaps after more information, okay, now I'm off of the fence, standing next to it on one side or the other. And just baby steps. And really that's all that we're doing every week, is just giving the side that, this trial wasn't televised. So there's very little information that's accurate given in any news clips. I appreciate that. And we will answer any questions you have, If we know the answer for a fact and we have, information that backs that up, we'll tell you that. If we don't know the truth or we don't know the facts, just like when we were talking about the black officer, Alexander Edwards, it's speculation. We don't know, like Kay says, we have no idea if he was involved in Sherry Ellis's situation. And so, but he matched the description that Sherry Ellis gave. Absolutely. So,
Hey,
I'll admit, I've
Strover,
only seen the interrogation.
a really quick way, or the quickest way to kind of get up to speed with most of this case, is to listen to a podcast. It's called Bates, Bates Investigates, and he follows the timeline of the prosecution, but he uses with the scrutiny of the defense. So he obviously is on the defense side. He obviously believes in Daniel's innocence. He was the private investigator. He's been a private investigator for a few decades. But he really gives even a lot more background on the Oklahoma City Police Department and the history of the city and the culture. He really does a great job with that podcast. And then Rhonda just posted Holtzclawtrial.com, which is his website. And so you can listen to the podcast, but then you can go to Holtzclawtrial.com, and he has all of the documents, he has all of the supporting evidence that he uses in each podcast, so that you can go and read the entire police report yourself. You can see the maps, you can see photographs, you can see all the supporting evidence for each episode. So I would encourage you to listen to that and go check out the documents too, because it's really enlightening.
Yeah, I can't, I have chills right now. I'm so excited. I wish we had more people like Strover come to watch our live videos and ask questions in the chat, because if I can just reach, even if it's just one person a month, and get one person a month or a week, preferably, but a day would be preferable. But if I can just get one person to say, well, I didn't know that, or I haven't seen that before, or I haven't heard that before, or where can I find whatever, uh, that means that's a big deal. It's so much more productive than some comments that we occasionally get that are just negative, where people will say, he's guilty, he did it, he's right where he belongs. And then when I ask, well, what makes you think that? What makes you say that? What, talk to me, tell me, so, let me know so I can help answer some questions for you. Nope, he's guilty. That's it. I watched the interrogation video, or I saw everything on the news, or I read all the articles, and that's okay. But it wasn't enough for me. It wasn't enough for us. So we started doing a lot more digging. Kay's been digging for the entire time that Daniel's been in prison, 7-8 years now. And the rest of us have been for probably over 3 years now working with Kay, doing the digging. And so, because it's not enough for me to just see a few things, or, hear a few things or whatever. I'm very nosy, and I want to know all the stuff. So,
I think we skipped a few of Justine's questions.
oh, I'm so sorry, Justine. I'm sorry, Justine. Yeah, it's been that long. It's really sad. Justine, I'm really sorry.
She says, how did they justify the fact that she said he was black, but Daniel is not? It's very confusing. Did the defense ever show her photos of all the black cops in the station? No,
yeah, we did answer those questions. It might have been when you stepped away.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I was on the, okay, I apologize.
I'm sorry, but yeah, I think we did. Hopefully we answered your questions satisfactorily. Oh,
sorry, my mom's calling.
Some music. Oh, okay. Yeah, and so yeah, it has. It's been that long, and well, we're closing in on 9 years now, in December. So,
did you all mention Daniel in the Den as well?
Oh, I did not. Strover, have you seen Daniel in the Den on YouTube?
YouTube.
I'll get the link for that as well. Because
it's a little easy. It's kind of an overview. And what is it? Is it 2 hours or?
Close to that. Oh, okay. Let me get you that. Listen, Strover, if you come back, if you keep coming back every week, you'll learn that I am extremely wordy. I'm a chatterbox, and so it's just how I am. Let me get you this link. What's happening? But yeah, and you know what? Asking questions and getting not necessarily the answer you're thinking you're going to get, or you're looking for, or you're hoping for, but just getting an answer. That's asking questions is the best thing. So you're always welcome to come to this podcast and ask questions. We do it every Thursday at 5 p.m. Central. And so, I encourage you, as you have time and as it's, possible for you, come back and listen to more. And beyond that, I don't know if you've looked through the channel, through my channel. Okay, here's a link to Daniel in the Den. It's just another thing to look at to, make you ask more questions. So, yeah. don't be sorry. I want you to ask all the questions you want to ask. And even if everybody else has got to go or gets tired or they're hungry, I'll sit here and talk to you guys, anybody, about all night, uh, answering questions. Um, or also, I guess I might as well do this too. I don't know if you're familiar with Discord or not, Strover, but there is a Discord that I have that we don't do I mean, it's not really an active Discord, but we do, you know, there's a room in Discord for each accuser. And so as we get information or we do, trial transcripts or whatever, we put them in their rooms. And so, let me put, I keep hitting the wrong button and it makes my page go all wonky. So, you're welcome to come in there too and see what we have in there. And if you're familiar with it. And here's the invite for that. You're very new to Discord. Okay, yeah, I mean, check it out. And, like the rooms aren't as organized as I would like them to be. I actually need to get some help from my panel members up here. uh, and, get that reorganized a little bit. But join the Discord, ask questions there. But I'm telling you, I'll mention your questions to Daniel, and he's going to be excited about it. I can guarantee it. He wants to know. He wants you to know. He wants all of his supporters to know, even people who don't support him yet or ever. He just wants them to know I have a side too, and I made a mistake of not asking for an attorney when I was in my interrogation. He knows that. He obviously knows that now. That's just how naive Daniel was, though, honestly, at the time. He just, he was very naive, and not that he, this always gets twisted when I make this comment to people too. It's not that he thought that they were going to protect him. It's that he believed he could trust them to do an investigation, a proper investigation, and they would find out that there was no possible way he was involved in this, and that it would all be cleared up, just like Kim Davis told him it would be, and that chalk it up to a really ugly experience he had to go through, and by damn, next time something like that happens, I'm getting an attorney, right away, and so he knows that there were some mistakes. He wishes that he had testified in his own defense at trial, but just like most other defendants, even the guilty ones, they trust what their attorney's advice is, and his attorney's advice was to not testify. And he was paying for an attorney, and that was the advice that he took. So, yeah, Strover, I'm just happy there's females who understand that questions are good. Well, yeah. Let me just tell you this much. The five of us here on this panel, we are all very inquisitive. We all have a lot of questions, and none of us are really very keen to just sit back and be quiet and not try to get involved. So that's all we're doing. I'm just trying to, get that information out there. That's all that my channel has ever been about, was getting information out. And, honestly, in the beginning, the first videos that I did, in the beginning, they're pretty rough. They're pretty bad. But I was learning. I was trying to teach myself. But I think especially the best thing I can suggest to you right now, after you listen to Bates podcasts, Daniel in the Den, and check out holtzclawtrial.com, go back to about 11 or 12 weeks ago. Well, this is episode 14. So go back 14 weeks ago and I start all over with the case. There's a video about Daniel Holtzclaw for beginners. Thank you. I appreciate that. Daniel Holtzclaw for beginners. And then we just kind of following Bates' investigation, just are slowly, week by week, going through all of the information for each accuser as we go. And I think that's where I would recommend to have you start if you're gonna, at some point start going through these videos. That's just my suggestion. But definitely, yes, look into the other ones first for sure. I'm really sorry I'm rambling because I'm really excited. So I'm going to stop talking and let the rest of the panel make their comments. So I think what we're going to do, and hopefully you'll really find this interesting, Strover. I'm going to play a video about Sherry Ellis, and it's self-explanatory. So I'm just going to share the screen here, and we're going to watch this video. And, you can leave a comment in the comments section if you want and tell us how you feel about it. But I have all these other tabs open. Let me. I gotta see what it's
Just to
called.
let you know, Strover, we're here every Thursday at 5 p.m. Central. Pretty much every Thursday.
I'm not sure if this is the one. I have so many. Let me close these other tabs out really quick because I've got too many tabs open to recognize this. Okay. So we're going to play this video, and then we are going to get out of here and let my panel go and let the rest of you go. And definitely like and subscribe like you just did, Strover. And, leave us some comments or ask some more questions in the comment section. I look at them every day, so.
Is your sound muted?
No.
Is this Sherry? Yes. Sherry, this is Detective Davis. Yes, ma'am. Okay. You sound frantic in your messages. Oh yeah, because I don't know what's going on. It's okay. That's why I've been wanting to find you and just ask you something. Okay. Okay. I have received a tip on. I work in sex crimes, and I've been working some cases, and I received a tip that you may have been sexually assaulted by a police officer. Yes, I have. But I didn't say anything because I know that I know police department and police say all stick together. Well, we ain't sticking together on this one. Oh, okay. So I would like to interview you. I didn't ever get his badge number. I don't know anything. I was terrified. I just didn't know what was going on because he said I'll do that, or he was going. I don't know. I didn't know whether if I still did it, or is he gonna take me to jail or what. He was a black man. Okay. He was in a black and white police car.
Sherry, I believe you. If I didn't believe you, I wouldn't have been calling you, trying to find you. Okay. Let me ask you this. Tell me your description of him.
He's black.
He's black male. Muscular. How tall could you tell? You're pretty tall. How tall are you? How tall are you?
5'11".
Is he taller than you or shorter than
Maybe
you?
like right here, maybe like that.
So you think he's shorter than you?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of car did he have?
A black and white one.
Black and white car?
Oklahoma City police car.
Okay. Well, let me tell you this. I want to get a DNA sample from you today. And the reason I want to get a DNA sample is because I know what officer did this to you. Okay? And there is some unknown female DNA on his pants that I took. And I want to see if it's yours. This is a waiver saying that you are going to let me, Kim Davis, and I'm a detective, and this is where we're located, are going to let me take buccal swabs. It's just Q-tips on the inside of your mouth to get a DNA sample so I can compare it to the DNA on his pants. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
One more question. When you described him as a black male, what, and I don't know, everybody's like, are you? Are you a medium color? What's your skin tone to you?
I'm white.
You're like, okay, what was he?
He's darker.
He's darker than you? Darker than your skin tone? Okay.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You state your full legal name?
Sherry Louise Michelle Smith.
Who contacted you? If you
Kim
recall?
Davis.
Detective Davis?
Yes.
Okay. And where did she call you on the phone, or did she meet you in person?
She called me on the phone.
Okay. And what did you tell her on the phone?
She asked me if I had any she asked me if I had any problems with the police officer, and I told her yes.
Did you meet her in person after the phone call?
Yes, sir.
And where did that meeting take place?
The DA's in that building next to the courthouse.
Okay. How tall are you?
5'11".
5'11". All right. And do you recall explaining to Miss Davis how tall this officer was that assaulted you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I'm going to hand you another exhibit. We marked it as exhibit number 4. That's a video still of you explaining to the officer how tall the person was that assaulted you. Do you recognize yourself in that image?
Yes, sir.
Is that you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, how tall did you tell was the person that assaulted you?
I don't recall how tall I said he was, but I did say that he was shorter than I was.
Okay. And we say shorter than you by about how much? I mean, in that image, it looks like you're holding your hand up maybe to your shoulders.
Yeah.
So he came up to about your shoulders.
Yeah.
So maybe what, 5'5", 5'6"?
Yes.
A shorter man.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And how else would you physically describe the officer other than by height?
I had said that he was black. He was dark complected. I think black. That's what I said.
I'm marking this plaintiff's exhibit A. I have a copy for you here. Miss Ellis, do you recognize this individual?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How do you recognize that person?
From court.
Okay. Do you recognize that person from any other time in your life?
No.
At the time you were at trial, did you believe you had seen that individual before?
No. I seen him. It's during trial, that's when I seen him.
Okay. Had you had any previous interactions with that man to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge. Besides him.
What do you mean?
Him, it's besides, you know, I haven't never seen him but before trial. That's when I finally seen who accused of raping me.
Okay. So there's I can't play that video enough. I think it's very informative, very telling. And so we're going to end the podcast for this week there. And I think we've covered everything now with Sherry Ellis. And so I believe the next accuser that we will start talking about, Sherry, is it Florine Mathis or Sarita Bowen?
I believe it's Florine. Sarita's toward the end.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I don't even think Brian Bates even got to Sarita, did he, in his podcast?
No.
Okay. All right. So next week we're going to start, most likely we'll start with Sarita Bowen. We'll start telling her story. It's another interesting story, but, you know, not nearly as involved and big, I guess, as Sherry's. So we will end it on that note. I just want to does anybody on the panel have anything they would like to add or say before we take off? Jack?
Well, it's not Holtzclaw case related, but
Okay, that's fine.
well, as many out there know that are following the Avery Dassey cases, the state has responded today about the Zelnor's request to remand the case back to the circuit court to consider her motion for her second post-conviction scientific testing. So if Susan, and maybe some, I don't know how long this thing is. I just looked at it a little bit, but I didn't look at the page count. We're probably going to go live on an open mic here in a few minutes and read that out. And that's pretty much all I've got to add at this point. Just for those that are interested.
It's just 8 pages, Jack.
Okay, so it won't take long at all. Well, we can discuss it, but
Yeah.
I mean, I know there's exhibits attached to it that are separate. We're not going to read those out because those are all prior motions and so forth and so on. We're not going to read those. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Jack.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Strover, very much. And welcome back anytime. And thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out tonight with us, listening and asking questions. We appreciate it every time. So, Kay, Susan, Cherie, any comments before we go?
Nope, not for me.
Okay.
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, with that said, we'll see you guys, everybody here again next Thursday at 5 p.m. Central. And until then, peace out.